What's up, guys? Based on Cinna, back at it again for your cold cut and honest reviews. I'm Jacob.
Nick.
Today we got McFarland, USA. Jim White moves his family after losing his last job as a football coach. And at his new school, he turns 7 disappointing students into one of the best cross-country teams in the region. This is our first non-horror review.
Feels good.
Clap it up. First
Let's
non-horror
go.
review, finally. After, I don't know how many videos. But,
Dude,
what's up?
it was supposed to be silence, silence. Somehow we ended up in McFarland, USA.
Right.
Not mad about it, though.
Yeah, we're going to watch the movie called Silence. Another shout out to Val because he's been wanting me to watch it for like 2 years. Yeah, great cast in that film. I'll pull it up real quick. But a lot of big names. We have Andrew Garfield. Lo and behold, Adam Driver, Liam Neeson, and those are like the big three. But I'm really excited to watch that movie. I heard it was really good, and I heard that also the ending was a little iffy, but I'm not quite sure. But I'm looking forward to that movie. I am looking forward to that movie. But we're doing McFarland USA. I am a sucker for sport dramas. I've seen so many sport dramas. I've binged them before, like back to back. And I haven't seen this one yet. There's a new one that came out called The Hill that I think we could probably watch. That looks pretty good. But
I'm down.
I say we get straight into it, really. Just to a brief background. I mean, if you don't know the guy already, we have Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner, big name in Hollywood. He's making his own he's making kind of his own saga right now. It's called The Horizon, an American saga. He has one chapter out right now. Another chapter is coming out soon. He's obviously very big in Yellowstone. Jonathan Kent in the Zack Snyder universe.
Superman Papa.
Yes, he is. He was in Let Him Go, which I really like. Did you see Let Him Go? This looks really bad, actually.
Oh, it does. Oh, no. Kevin Costner, Superman's dad.
Oh, no, he didn't do it.
Truth
He didn't do it like
exposed.
that. Kevin Costner exposed. He's in the movie called If you guys don't know, that was like what Kevin Costner did in the Man of Steel when Clark wanted to save him from the tornado, but like he couldn't save him from the tornado because it would have revealed him and his powers. So if he got eaten by the tornado, he's like, no.
He gets fucking
Yep.
heartfelt.
This is the first time he screams. He was in a movie called Let Him Go, which I really liked. Did you watch that movie? Let Him Go.
Let him go. Oh, I didn't see that.
You should watch that movie. I really enjoy that movie, and we could review that if you really want. Yeah, I thought it was pretty damn good. I haven't seen it since it came out in 2020, but I would watch it again.
It's a drama, right?
Yeah, it's a drama.
Okay.
Yeah, specify. It's a psychological drama, psychological thriller, crime, drama, thriller, western.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was good though. I really enjoyed it. And he's in movies with her a lot. He's in movies with her a lot. Because his co-star is
Martha
Kent.
They're like, we're not done being married.
No, we're not.
We're not.
He was in Molly's Game. Molly's Game is very good. If you're a fan of poker and just drama in general and thrillers, that's a great movie.
I thought that was gonna be like Gerald's Game, like the movie Gerald's Game.
Right, that's totally different than Gerald's Game.
Cause the titles,
I know.
titles was the only reason I thought it. I was like, what are they doing? A spin-off?
Field of Dreams.
Fuck yeah.
Classic movie.
Field of Dreams.
Classic.
You know a classic sports movie that I feel doesn't get enough love? Angels in the Outfield.
I used to love Angels in the Outfield. I used to love that movie.
So good.
I haven't watched that in years, probably since I was a kid.
And you still haven't seen Back to the Future, right?
I watched Back to the Future. I haven't seen any of the other ones or the sequels, but I've seen Back to the Future.
Doc Brown is one of the angels.
Oh, that's right.
Christopher Lloyd.
I remember that now.
Hell yeah.
I do remember that now. And then, okay, so let's go to Maria Bello. She plays Kevin's wife in this movie. She was also in a lot of movies. She was in Beef. She was in some NCIS. The Waterman, Goliath, Max Steel, Lights Out.
Oh, Lights Out, nice.
Mm-hmm.
She's the mom in Lights Out.
Right. Demonic, which I haven't seen yet. which I want to watch.
Is it the one with Florence Pugh?
Let's see. Demonic.
Demonic?
No.
Ah, shit. Okay.
She was also in Prisoners. If you haven't seen Prisoners, go watch Prisoners. Really good
Love
movie.
Prisoners.
Prime Suspect, Law and Order SVU, Beautiful Boy. That's not the Beautiful Boy with. That is not the Beautiful Boy with Timothy Chalamet.
Timothée.
And Michael Scott.
Put
Not
some
that one.
respect on my boy's name.
Uh,
He's Bob Dylan, damn it.
She was in World Trade Center. Secret Window, 1,000 Mile Rule.
Ooh. Secret Window. Nice.
Payback, ER, Mr. and Mrs. Smith the Show. So many Mr. and Mrs. Smith remakes. It's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Shit's fucking. But anyway, what can I just say? The last Bob Dylan movie we got, I think it was Joaquin Phoenix. I think it's called Walk the Line.
That's just Johnny Cash.
That's. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Wait. No. Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger, I think, played Bob Dylan in the last movie. I'm confusing.
Really?
But I'm pretty sure there was a movie about Bob Dylan that came out, and I'm pretty sure it was Heath Ledger. Pretty sure he did it right before Dark Knight. If I'm wrong, I'm walking outside in front of traffic.
I'm not there.
Is it Heath Ledger?
You're right.
Dude, underrated. I don't fucking care for the Timothée. He has the same
Christian Bale was in it
stature.
too.
Like, he has the same stature, same build, and he kind of looks like him with the glasses. But I mean, throw glasses on anybody, you could probably make him look like Bob Dylan. But it's just like, I don't know what it is about Timothée. Can't
Who are you saying?
stand him. I
Tim?
can't fucking his name.
Timothy?
Timothée.
Okay.
That's how it's pronounced. That's how he's like, yeah, it's pronounced Timothée. But people call me Timothy. Cause he's like French.
Uh-huh.
But
Okay.
like, yeah, dude, it's just like, I don't give a fuck about this Bob Dylan movie. I'm like, I didn't care about Wonka. I didn't care
Wonka
about
didn't look good. Didn't look good.
Love, Bones, and what's it?
Bones and All?
Love and Bones, Bones and All. I was interested, but I didn't give a fuck. But like,
I thought it was vampires, but I heard it's actually like cannibals. Is that true?
I heard it's cannibals too. Yeah, I heard it's cannibals too. It's
Man, they advertised that movie so weird.
it was like Twilight, but for edgy kids. Even edgier kids, edgier than that.
I'm looking at the Bob Dylan pictures for that movie you told me about. I'm not there. Christian Bale plays Bob Dylan in one of the scenes.
Well, Heath Ledger's the main Bob Dylan, right?
I don't know. Like
Okay.
Christian Bale says, his role is named Jack and Heath Ledger's named Robbie. I might just have to watch it.
I'll watch it with you.
Anyway, let's get to the damn review.
Yeah, let's go. Let's get back on track, guys.
And I just want to talk a little bit about the director, and then we'll move on. We'll move on after that.
Well, I blow my nose. I'm sorry.
You're good, man. That time of year, people are getting sick right now. Nika Caro is the director. She directed
cool.
The Mother, Mulan. She did Mulan.
Oh shit!
The Zookeeper's Wife. A Heavenly Vintage, North Country, Whale Rider, Mercy Peak, Memory and Desire, Suit Eyes. She's honestly kind of up and coming when it comes to movies.
When I heard the Zookeeper's Wife, I thought of the movie We Bought a Zoo.
We Bought a
Matt
Zoo.
Damon.
Yeah, me too.
And I just think of that scene with young Sam Winchester. And he's like,
Mhm.
"You can't force a dream on somebody," and then he says, like, "Yes, I can."
It's a good dream.
The fucking dream.
It's a good dream.
If you haven't had that kind of situation with your parents at least one time,
In some way, shape, or
are you
form.
really a family?
Right. In some way, shape, or form, having that type of dynamic.
Good dream.
It's a good dream. It's a meme now.
It
I've
is.
been seeing that like all over the place. All right.
When you try to when you design your kid to be like you design your kid's room as like a Star Wars room.
Yeah. Exactly. This bed's like the Millennium Falcon. It's like It's not my
The
dream.
door
It's
is
a good dream.
the door is a sliding door.
Yeah, sliding door. It's nice. His life stands like a C-3PO leg. All right. The movie starts in a locker room. Jim White throws a cleat at his cocky captain. The cleat hits him in the face, leaving a decent gash that bleeds quite quickly, and a decent amount of blood at that. And I immediately kind of had a problem with this opening scene, believe it or not, because okay, I played baseball. If anybody doesn't know, to all our viewers, I used to play baseball all my life. I stopped when I was like 18, but I was a pretty good player. When you get to a certain age, you start using metal cleats, especially in high school.
Oh shit!
Right? So you start using metal cleats and not rubber ones.
Yeah.
And I think this might be an honest movie mistake. This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's a genuine movie mistake. So the captain of the football team, he throws this paper on the floor, and he's like, and Kevin Costner's character is like, pick it up. So he goes and picks it up, and then he calls the towel boy over, pretty much, that water boy. I think I'm not sure who it is exactly, but one of the players, one of the crew on the team, and he hands Costner, for whatever reason, a cleat, and there's a really clear shot of the cleat, and it doesn't have the spikes in it. It doesn't have the metal spikes in the cleats. But you see where they would go. There's holes there where the metal spikes would go, but they're not in there, and they're not rubber cleats either. Where, before high school, when you play, a lot of times when you're playing Little League, you have rubber spikes just for grip, and then over time they wear away. You have to get new ones. But once you get around to high school, middle school, you use metal cleats, and the metal sticks out of the holes. In the shot, you see where the metal should be, but they're not there. So I was wondering, also, when he threw the cleat at the locker, which accidentally hit the kid in the face, the cleats themselves didn't hit the kid in the face. It was like the back of the sole of the shoe. And it leaves this big gash, and it bleeds like all the way down to here on his face. And I'm like, well, first off, the cleat didn't have metal on it. I think what happened was they were probably going to use a cleat with the metal cleats, and then they gave him a cleat to throw without metal on it. But the one in the shot is the dummy. That's what that's what I think. You know what I'm saying? So like they were supposed to show a metal cleat, but they gave him the one that wasn't metal to throw. But the one you see in the movies, you could easily see where the metal goes. I'm like,
it should have been there.
Yeah, it should have been there. And when it hit the locker and it hit the kid in the face, the cleats parts themselves, the cleats did not hit the kid in the face. So that was like a miss for me right away. And luckily the rest of the movie was solid. But that's
yeah, I feel like they probably did it like a bunch of times, and they were just like, it's good.
Yeah, it's good. This is fine.
Moving on.
Yep,
Moving on.
Pretty much. It's like the last scene. Like Kevin Costner's tired. It's like the last scene they filmed.
How many times do I have to throw? Can I just fucking hit him with this?
So Jim White is fired after the incident for, quote, verbally abusing his students, fighting with the chairman of the school board, and the cleat incident. Jim White gets he basically moves to McFarland in California, a generally Mexican-American town. And they get there, gets in the house, kid's not very happy. They got to move to this place, and they see the environment. It's not the best environment, and they're, a white family coming into a Mexican-American area that doesn't. It's like a culture shock for them. It's culture shock for any family who could, and they even state it in the movie, like, oh, you don't. Throughout the movie, it really. The movie does a good job with showing the culture shock aspect of it throughout the entirety of the film. But you see it right away once they get to the town. Right away. It's like the second scene of the movie. So they go to the restaurant. They come outside. Jim kind of gets confronted. Jim White pretty much gets, quote-unquote, confronted by a quote-unquote gang, which is what we're kind of getting Jim and his family's perspective. And it seems like a gang. They have lowriders. I swear there's an Impala in there. They always, like you always see the Impalas in the movies. And it is in the culture too. Like you see it in music videos and stuff all the time in videos on the internet. They always use Impala. So, it's me and Nick's favorite car, 1967 Chevy Impala, 4-door, tan interior, just to specify.
So hard to find.
Huh?
It's so hard to find a 4-door,
The
dude.
4-door one, yeah.
They only made like 150, I think.
No way. 150,000 maybe.
Yeah, they only had 100. Maybe no, I'm pretty sure it was only 150 came off the lot. But double check. But yeah, like the 2-door is the most common body you find. The 4-door is the hardest one to find. If you find a 4-door, you are extremely lucky.
The coupe and a sedan. Ooh, 1967 Chevy Impala for sale. eBay.
Don't fucking tempt me, dude.
Me and Nick were actually Nick and I were actually looking at one point.
I remember that, dude. I still have like it's saved on my phone, certain tab.
It's such a beautiful car.
Do they accept Klarna monthly installments?
This is like, I would say like invested in Bitcoin because I would just buy one. Anyway,
all your Doge and just fucking...
yeah, I still have my Doge from 2020. I still have it, and I've been putting in like $15 a week in there. And
is it going up?
It's fluctuating back up, but it's a very slow process. But essentially, like, I'm like half the percentage down. So like, say I have $3,000. Say I have $3,000 in there. I lost 1,500. As an example.
Oh shit.
As an example,
Yeah.
I'm at that middle mark. But it's going up. But I'm putting in like $15, and then the rate is going down. So, say I was at 30 cents. I'm putting it down to like 22. So like that's kind of the way I'm kind of, once it hits 22, I get all my money back essentially. Anyway,
I got you.
Yeah. So
little fun facts.
So Jim White gets confronted by what seems to be a gang and struggles to leave the area. He like freaks out. He like genuinely freaks out, and he can't drive the car properly for a moment. The family doesn't want to be there. Jim wants to leave ASAP after this incident, but they can't because they need the money, and this is the place that takes him. And Jim took this job, and they can't afford it anywhere better. Jim meets his PE class and then starts coaching his new team in his first football game, and they aren't very good. There's a scene where he takes out one of the kids who is going to be one of his track stars, and he obviously has concussion. He's like, "How many fingers am I holding up?" And he says September.
I think it's September.
It's like, the coach, it's Friday. Like it's Friday, coach. It was a really funny scene actually. Yeah, it was funny. It's a good scene. And the head coach is like, "What are you doing? I want my player in here." He tries to call the player in here, but obviously he has concussion, and Jim's like, "No, you're not going in." And after that, he gets let go from that position. So the town and the students from the school work every single day of the week, even before school takes. So they wake up at like 4:30 in the morning, and they go out and work at like 5:30, and then they work until they have to go to school to support their families. McFarland is one of the poorest towns in the U.S. The young folk work the fields and remain working in the fields, and if they aren't working in the fields, they often find themselves in prison. And there is a prison like right next door to the school, believe it or not.
Yeah, when they do the laps for class, they're doing laps around the prison, which is also
it's metaphorical too, because they're constantly going through like the laps in their lives, the laps around the town, and eventually they just kind of find their way inside. There's a lot of there's a little bit of metaphorical imagery there. Jim has a quote unquote incident with the football coach I explained with the character with the student. Jim notices that a lot of the male students are very fast, in shape, and can run far. He decides to approach the principal, possibly starting a cross-country team. Jim, throughout the days, observes the kids running. One, in fact, ran 12 miles an hour, and that's a 5-minute mile. I was running for quite a little bit myself for last year. I was preparing for a Spartan race, a 5K, and like a 5-minute is a really good place to be. I think the best I can't remember the best I had, to be honest, but like I think around 7 minutes is where mine was. And I didn't have like a flat place to run. I did, but I chose like uphill and downhill areas to make it more challenging. But like 5 minutes is really good. especially for somebody fresh in high school. Jim continues to try to persuade the principal to letting him start a cross-country team because he notices that there are potential stats of the kids, because he's like watching these kids run and he's timing them and he's looking at his speedometer. He notices their potential stats could be more than impressive. One of the students, he could potentially be top 10 in the state. Then he finds out that the state already backs cross-country for their high schools, and if the principal lets him run the team and starts the team, the state will back him. So he starts to practically train his PE class for running. He has these kids in his class who are fast, and he starts his training before he even has the team. He approaches Johnny, the same kid he was protecting in the football game, to help him recruit other players. So Johnny goes around and like goes to people's houses because they're all very close and friends. They make it seem like a very small town. And he's like trying to recruit these, all these guys who try to run on the team. And one of those students is Tommy, who is the one who can run the 5-minute mile. And Tommy is one of the key characters in this movie.
Tommy is cool.
So Tommy is cool, and Jim is trying to recruit players. He gets Johnny to try to recruit players, and then finally, and Tommy just didn't want to run. He's like, "Stop following me. I don't have a car, so I'm running to and from school." Tommy gets in a fight in school, and instead of him getting suspended, Jim uses this as leverage to get him to the cross-country team. So that way he's not suspended. He does something that's productive. Jim then runs with the students, and this is great, but, they get to a store, and then the corner store, as they call it, and he stops because he's out of shape. And Victor disappears. He kind of shows that some of these kids don't really have the heart to just run, and Victor just goes off. And that's one thing that's very followed in throughout the movie, is that a lot of these kids don't come from a great upbringing. And they do tend to run off. And that's a little bit more metaphorical. So they finally have their first race. They have the team finally do their first race. Jim doesn't look like he's been there before. Like he literally has never coached cross country in his life. And as they start running, the coaches move to the next location to keep track of they go to each mile and they keep track of the students' pace. And the kids, especially Thomas, is discouraged. You can kind of see something's going on in his mind. Danny, who's like the anchor, he calls him the anchor. He's all the way in the back, and he's like fading behind, but he tells him he's doing a great job, which he is. He never stopped, and that's what he told him. Like, good job, Danny. He never stopped, and that's important. You gotta love sports movies because they just have like subtle metaphorical, like subtle metaphors, and it's like really nice. It relates to life. The kids lose by a lot, almost double what the other kids pass by, but this is expected. Jim takes the blame himself because he didn't know about the hill at the end of the race. And Thomas himself, which is, the leader of the group, the captain of the group, he drags on the hill, and basically that is what tricks him from winning. Jim is still focused on getting out of town. He doesn't want to be there. It's a bad place in his mind still. And being in last place won't cut it. Being in last place will not get him out of town. It will not get him to a better school. So he begins training on makeshift hills, which we later find out are like piles of almonds that are covered in tarps. Thomas's dad goes home. We don't see him for a while. I think they insinuate that he just left, like he left his family and then he came back.
He travels and works.
Yeah.
He works travel.
Right.
So he would go to different areas wherever he could find work, and he'd do that work. But the thing is, he wasn't a loyal man. He had his side.
Okay.
Girl, in those other areas.
Okay. And then he comes home to find his daughter pregnant.
He comes home to find out his side girl is pregnant.
That was his daughter.
No. His baby girl, his other baby girl, not his daughter.
Yeah, because he comes home. Because earlier in the film, Thomas gets in a fight because somebody called his little sister, a bad name because she's pregnant.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so that was his daughter. So that's why when he gets home, and his daughter's pissed, and his daughter's crying because he just found out his daughter's pregnant. She has the big belly and everything. So it goes to show how long he's been away because she already has this big belly. You know what I mean?
Months.
Yeah, months. Yeah, months. Yeah. He claims that him and his people grow and remain as pickers because
Nothing ever changes in McFarland.
Nothing ever changes in that area. You grow up a picker and you die a picker, farming, and that's all you're worth. And Tommy is just, you can tell he has trauma from his dad. His dad's never really home. He's very discouraged. His self-esteem is low, and like his dad even affirms, like, we're pickers. This is what we do. And, not being a great father too, Tommy learns from his father, and hopefully he doesn't learn.
Yeah, it's just like, Yeah, just like being told, like, you're not gonna. What's the point of doing any of this stuff? You're just gonna be what you are, which is what I am. You're gonna be like me, and like you won't amount to anything if you keep putting your faith in like this stuff.
Right. Exactly. So there's a scene where Thomas comes home. His dad's drunk, and him and his wife get in a fight, and he's like, "Oh, it's your fault," and she's like, "Of course, it's always my fault." And then he starts like wailing on the wall, and then Thomas allegedly goes in to restrain him, and he gets in the way essentially, and that's what he says. He gets in the way, and blocks his fist with his face, and he says that in a later scene he says that his father needs his hands to work, and if he doesn't have his hands, he can't work and get money for his family. So I don't think we really necessarily know the truth, but Jim isn't buying it.
Yeah,
Jim's not really buying it, but it could. We just don't know. This is a PG movie too. Just to let you guys know.
It's a PG movie that tackles very dark material.
Absolutely. And Disney does that sometimes too.
Teen pregnancy. Just an
alcohol abuse,
bad home life,
gang violence.
Alcohol abuse, gang violence.
Yeah, suicide.
Yeah,
PG movie.
It tackles a little bit of everything, but very, very, I would say very well.
Yeah, I agree.
Very well.
I agree.
They never outright say anything, never outright show anything, but they have a way of. The way they crafted each of those scenes for each of those topics is handled very well.
I agree. Jim forgets his daughter's birthday and her cake, and then she's very upset. She's 15. 15-year-old girls are very emotional. I remember my sister when she was 15. That was a tough time. Tough time. Jim goes on a drive late at night. Jim goes on a drive late at night and sees Thomas on a bridge. He's sitting on the edge of the bridge. He appears to be suicidal. Jim sees his father hit him in the eye, and like I said, he says his dad's a picker, which seems to be why he sees himself going down that route. Jim eventually talks him off the bridge, but he kind of literally pulls him off the bridge. And there's a slight shot when he pulls him off the bridge where Thomas's foot like comes up. And I think that's Thomas letting him pull him off.
Yeah.
It's a very,
there's
very
no resistance.
Yeah, there's no resistance to him getting pulled off because he's like, like if you fall, you're probably gonna survive. It's not that high, and if you do survive, you're gonna break your legs bad enough where you can never run again. And he has to run because he run. What's up?
He has to run for picking, and then it's like, and on top of that, he's like, I bet running's the only thing you've really got right now.
Right, and plus the track team.
Yeah.
Cross country, sorry, because I know like cross country people are like, oh, it's not track, it's cross country or whatever.
What do you mean? What are you calling it track for?
Exactly. So it takes him off the bridge eventually. Yeah. And there's the one part in that he's like, so you want to hear what I did? And then like, you want to hear what I did today? And Thomas is like, no. He's like, well, I'm gonna tell you anyway. It's like I forgot my daughter's birthday cake, and Thomas is like, yeah, it's pretty bad.
Thomas starts laughing. It's like, dude, really?
He's like, dude, you're a dick for that.
Low key, Thomas is like, dude, how'd you forget my girl's birthday?
Yeah. His team has their second meet, and during the meet, Thomas is behind a little, but he's not stressing about it. He's pacing himself. He preserves his strength and gets first place for himself. McFarland ends up winning by 1 point.
Hell yeah.
Their first win. Jim's wife has car trouble. And lo and behold, we find out that the man who fixes the car is the main quote-unquote head of the gang as we think of it. And fixes her car. And we start to realize that, as well as the family, Jim's family, that these people aren't so bad.
Not everything is as it seems.
Exactly. The film does a great job at showing, like, unintentional, like, racial judgment and bias.
Profiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Diaz brothers has to quit the team because of their father. During this, Jim's wife gets her car worked on, like I said, and Jim goes over to the house of the Diaz's family. And the reason why they can't go anymore is because they have to work in the morning and they have to work after school. And he's like, gosh damn it, if I'll go work in the fields with you if I have to have you on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So the Diaz family treats him well. He gives him he gives him a lot of food. Stuffs him, and gives him food to take home. And Jim, being a good guy, he's like, it's disrespectful to say no. And eventually, she gives him food to take home to his family, and he's like, I can't take this. He's like, don't tell me no. She was my favorite.
Bring him back.
She was my favorite character in the movie.
She was great.
The Diaz mother,
Mm-hmm.
She was my favorite character.
She's the OG.
She's the epitome of like Mexican people all the time talk about their mothers. This is it. This is like a perfect encapsulation of what I've always heard in my life.
She was the Hispanic mother.
Oh yeah, like growing up in Clifton, New Jersey, like that. I mean, so many ethnicities and so many different backgrounds. Melting pot. Like I believe Clifton, New Jersey is the melting pot of the United States. Because of that. Like I'm proud to be from Clifton, and I'm very grateful that I did, because I was exposed to so many different people and so many different things, good and bad.
Like, you can go 20 minutes one direction, get genuine Italian cuisine, like legitimately homemade Italian food. Yeah, 20 minutes. Go another direction, 20 minutes. You get genuine homemade, like, tacos and burritos and
like where I live, you could walk up
Hispanic
the street.
Food.
Genuine. I would walk up the street. There's a park. Next door to the park is an Italian restaurant. Down the block, one block, is a Mexican restaurant. Then you have liquor stores, and then like barber shops and pharmacies.
One direction Italian, one direction Spanish, Hispanic food, and another direction Polish, authentic Polish cuisine, and then another direction you get like straight American food, burgers, hot dogs, and it's just like Jacob said, and like I said, a melting pot of different cultures that there's no excuse to not at least try one thing in your life.
Absolutely. You have if you live in Clifton, you could go to many different places and try a lot of different kinds of foods. So Jim approaches Diaz's father, but his father doesn't let the boys compete because they need to work and get money, because that's pivotal in this culture in this town. Is everybody has to work to get money for the family so they can put foods on the table. That's basically what the Diaz's father says. Jim goes to work with the Diaz brothers to basically go through their shoes. The kids start working at 10 and 11 years old, as is explained to Jim. The Diaz brothers goes to the field, and as they get in the truck, they see Coach there. And he's having a really hard time. And he's like, this is like the hardest work I've ever done in my entire life. It really puts
What are you doing here, Blanco?
Yeah. I have such I relate to it a lot, because when I was playing baseball in Passaic, the whole team was Dominican. It's all Dominicans. And I was the only gringo on the team. I was the only white boy. So they would call me white boy. They call me gringo. Until I got their respect, just like Jim does. They start calling him Coach, and they start calling me by my real name. And after I got the respect, they didn't call me gringo ever again.
Dude, nice.
Yeah. But he walks in their shoes, and his back is spasming. He's like, your body's not used to it. Like, you just gotta lie face down, and starts kind of giving him a little bit of a massage to loosen the muscles. And he goes home and just knocks out. But he wants to, and he lived up to what he said. Like, I'll go work with you guys so you guys can come play. And I wish I saw the Diaz's father's reaction to him working and showing up, but we don't see that. But there's
a lot of missed opportunities where you don't see certain character interactions or certain growth in different characters that I wish you could have saw.
Absolutely.
That being one of them.
I agree. And listen, this is a 2-hour long movie. This is 2 hours and 10 minutes. So for a PG Disney movie, the length of the film by itself is pretty good. And I totally understand why we couldn't get a little bit, but even like a 5-second little reaction from the father could have been nice.
Yeah. Just a little.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, we don't get paid by the hour, we get paid by the field. So if you finish this field fast enough, we could do another field, and we get paid more, which is crazy.
Remember, and Jim's reaction is just like, by the field?
By the field?
He's just looking at all the different fields. He's just like, what the fuck?
And there's that scene
like
when
in his face.
Yeah, and there's a scene where he goes to the Mexican restaurant and he's in the, we got empanadas, we have tacos, and he's like, do you have burgers? He's like, no, we got empanadas, we got tacos. He's like, we have different, all these meats, chorizo, this, that, and it's like,
yeah.
And she's like, I'll give you a wide selection.
We'll take the tacos, and then it's just like, that's when they start listing the meats, and they're just like.
The only one that I recognize was chorizo, personally.
I've heard of that one too, and then I remember, like she said, the selection. She's like, "Let me get you samples or some shit, or show you what we got."
Yeah, because she gives them the tacos with like multiple different kinds of meats.
Dude, we should do like a, just try a different bunch of meats.
Yeah, there's a great Mexican place down the road from me, and me and my mom go there a lot, and that's fantastic Mexican cuisine. I love Mexican food. I love Mexican food.
Oh shit! I did not know that.
Yeah, I love Mexican food, and it really sprouted from this place by me. But when I went to certain dinners and stuff with my baseball team, we were all Dominican. I had some of their food too. But living in Clifton and meeting so many different people, I'm able to have a wider palate because of all these different kinds of foods. I eat Italian food. When I eat Italian food, if I have Italian food in front of me, I eat it like Italians. I won't claim to eat Mexican food like Mexicans do, because there is like a culture to that as well, just like Italians and Italian food. But maybe
a specific certain way for each thing.
Right. So but there's a great Mexican place by me, and I love it. They have phenomenal sangria, phenomenal cheese, phenomenal meat. It's just, I love it so much. I would eat there every day if I could.
Oh shit.
Yep, I would. I really would. Maybe I can marry a Mexican woman and she'll just make me Mexican food. That'd be great.
They are really religious.
They are.
They are very
religious. As we see in this movie. Mm-hmm. It is the 80s, so modern day has changed. No, I know that. I know that. Yeah, but
you're more likely to find a really religious Hispanic woman than you are to find like a modern day Caucasian religious woman.
I would agree.
And that's kind of crazy. But like a lot of other like nationalities, ethnicities are really faith based.
Oh yeah.
Which is like something you'll see a lot.
100%.
And even if it's like you could like majority of the time it's gonna be like different types of religion as opposed to ours, but like just the fact that they are is kind of cool.
Usually Catholic and sometimes Protestant.
Mm-hmm.
So
I sent you the funniest video about that stuff earlier.
I'll take a look. So at this point, the Diaz brothers start calling him Coach. No more disrespectful nicknames. Jim's wife starts to become more acquainted with the people in the town. She and the kids start to help the town with a tamale sale and a car wash as a fundraiser for the team. So he wakes up out of his nap because he napped from the.
He slept the whole day into the next day. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I don't blame him working in the field, but he slept through and through.
I think you're right. I think he literally slept the whole day.
But can you imagine waking up and just having you wake up to like a whole fundraiser just happening in your home just out of nowhere with all these random people you don't really know that well.
Just tamales all over the place. And then of course the mom's there, Diaz's mom was there, and she's directing him like his wife. And man, I'll get into this, but in a little bit. But man, this movie does such a great job highlighting the family. A pretty healthy family and community dynamic, and it's so refreshing to see that in a movie nowadays. And it was so good to see. And I'm you're watching it, and there's a quote later in the movie, and family is practically everything, and it's so wholesome. It's so wholesome. And we'll get into that a little bit more. If I forget, remind me.
I picked a good one.
No, I mean, I'm a sucker for these kind of movies, and this is just a great movie for today. And everybody should go see it. The head of the car club, who were thought was a gang, is indeed a car club And like I said before, the leader of that car club is the one who fixed Jim's car, and it's insinuated that he was mixed up in some gang activity in the past.
Yeah.
Jim's team is winning more and more. We don't see it happening, but we're told that they're winning more and more, and the team continues to be inspired. Jose writes a beautiful poem about running. I love that part. It's a beautiful poem.
That was a beautiful poem.
Yes. And Jim is bettering his bond with the kids, and they begin to call him coach. Everybody's calling him coach. Thomas, and the only time where they don't call him coach again after this is when Thomas hears that he might go to another school, and he calls him another name that's not coach. Once again, Blanco. He just calls him Blanco again. It was cool.
The moment of the poem, just to circle back real quick.
Yeah.
And after that whole situation, he does get called a disrespectful nickname again. But just to circle back to that poem, I don't remember. I don't have it memorized, but the reason we find out about the poem is because another teacher who originally thought Jim didn't care about the students,
right,
and was just there to make money and possibly get out there as soon as he could. She tried to get him involved in the fundraiser and stuff like that, activities to just for in general before even the team was a thing. Jim said, "No, not my thing. Not really interested." But just seeing how much time he spent just trying to walk them out in their shoes, live their lives, and just like integrate into the culture. You see the teacher who brings him the poem and reads it to him breaking down in tears and just admiring him as a person and thanking him for being who he is and doing what he's doing and giving these kids the chance and the hope of a better tomorrow.
I think a big part of that too is because when he originally says it's not really my kind of thing, I think that roots back to him and his experiences with his prior teammates and how he kind of got fired and like because of the cleat incident and quote unquote verbally abusing them, which he says didn't happen, but I think that's kind of it's kind of like a shock to his system because he doesn't want to he doesn't see that himself very highly at this moment because of what happened in the past.
Yeah. And then hearing all that, you could see like in the moment when he hears that, he's just like, yeah, he's a proud kid.
Yeah, he's finally like humble. He's a good kid. He's a good kid. Good kid.
Good kid.
Thomas talks to his father who's drinking. And he tells his father that they could make it into finals and that he could potentially make it to college. And his father says to stop studying the books, to ruin his eyes, and to focus on work in the fields. And Thomas is kind of put down.
Visibly discouraged.
Yes, visibly discouraged. The team is making an impression on the town, and they begin to develop school spirit, which is great. They race the state qualifying match, and Jim is approached by one of the coaches insinuating that due to Jim's success with the team, he may be able to work at another school, and he gives Jim a card. Thomas is neck and neck for first, and there's a hill or mountain in the race, and it's what they trained for. Every other team starts to lag on the hill, but Jim's team strives for greatness, and they start running up the hill. Even Danny, the anchor, who usually is behind everybody else, keeps passing runners up the hill. A little bit of foreshadowing there.
Oh yeah.
Thomas takes a fall and doesn't come in first. However, the team makes fourth place, and they make the cut. So your main guy, he falls, and the rest of the team picks him back up and wins it for him.
Oh yeah.
And one of the favorite parts of the movie is once they make it to final, like the moment they make it to finals and they find out that they got fourth place and they made it, they kneel down, they pray.
They pray. Yeah, dude.
Beautiful.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, let's go, dude. Let's freaking go.
And Jim's like,
I was a little
damn.
Yeah, I was like discouraged that Jim didn't join in on that.
Well,
like,
you tell he's not a religious guy, but I think he's just admiring them, and that's wholesome by itself.
He's taking a moment to appreciate that camaraderie.
And it's good for the kids to have their own moment too, like by themselves. It builds a brothership, it builds a bond, it builds the team. Jim takes the kids to the ocean for the first time in celebration. The kids get new uniforms and new tracksuits. The town spirit is growing more and more. Jim organizes a quinceañera for his daughter, trying to make up for him forgetting it.
With the help of the neighborhood.
Help of the neighborhood, yeah. And he tells that Diaz's mother about her turning 15. He's like, "When's her quinceañera?" He's like, "What's that?"
What's that?
It shows how
Yeah.
like out of touch he is with the Mexican community. The women come in. This is great. I could probably get into this now, honestly, but the women come in to set it up, and they tell the men to do what they want them to do.
Hmm.
And I'll just get into it now because it's on my mind. But
Yeah, of course.
like I said, the film does a great job with the family dynamic, and it really, really showcases, like I said, the family dynamic, as well as the gender roles in this movie.
Hmm.
The kids and the wives know the man's role, and the reason why it's so big here is because they have to work the fields and they have to work to get money for the family, and so that they can get food for the family, and the wives will cook the food that the man puts on the table.
Hmm.
And whether the men are good or not, or the fathers are good or not, they're gonna do it because they still bring in the money and they still bring in the food, and they got to support the family no matter what. If a marriage is falling through, if a marriage is rough and rocky, they still don't forget their role to support their family, and that's a beautiful thing. Even the most perfect-looking families have their ups and downs.
True.
But the wife knows that the man works hard in the field. They know he works hard to bring money and food on the table, and the wife will cook the meal. And the fathers know and respect the wives' roles, just like we see in the scene of the quinceañera, because Jim goes and sits down with the guy from the corner store, and he's like, "So I guess we should put this table over there." He's like, "Just sit down. Just sit." Just sit. He's like, "Just sit down." And then
Sit down, bud.
they got a whole like line of women who come in with like all their decorations and stuff. He's like, "You all right? Get up, gotta get this table out of here because this is the dance floor." And he's like, "All right." And like,
This is going over there.
right, so like, the guy just being the guys, they just sit down, and then he's like, "So I guess we'll just move the table over there." And
I love that scene so much, but like just because of like the men's interaction with each
yeah,
other,
right,
just have the two dudes who know what's about to go down. And you have Jim who's over here like, so let's get started. Put this there, right? Makes sense.
right.
And then like you said, because it's like, hey,
Just sit down. And and I mean, you see in those cultures and other cultures, it's not just the Mexican culture, but you see it in like Russian and a wide variety of cultures where even weddings and when people have houses, like a lot of the times the men will let the women design the house, like like the wives make it a home. Like there's a saying that the man supplies the house and the wives make it into a home. It's a very beautiful thing. The women come in and they just like kick the guys out and they make them help when they need them to help, and they set up the entire thing. And just like weddings, like, a lot of times the man will just let the wife wife do the wedding. You know what I mean?
they have the vision.
They have the vision. They have the vision for these things.
Yeah.
So they take care of everything, and the kids respect their mothers and their fathers. They all know their roles as families, and I mean that's the way it really was in America for a long time up until recently. But you see it highlighted so well in this movie with the Mexican culture, and it's a beautiful thing. It's something that's a loss nowadays, and people kind of label it as a sexist thing, but in reality, it's a beautiful thing because
I think it's in like I don't mean to cut you off. I
no,
think
yeah,
it's like literally something that's in nature.
hmm
Like not to say that like we are mammals, we are animals, but like I've seen a lot of people go back to this like, oh, even in the animal kingdom you see specific roles for specific genders of animal. And it's like um who are we to be like any different than them? Who are we to say that we couldn't share some attributes even though we have for generations?
hmm
And like it's weird now because if you say certain things like what Jacob's saying, you get put into a category, get put a label on, and people immediately try to shoot you down and like just silence your voice
hmm
and make sure that nobody ever hears it again.
right,
And it's like
We take a look back at in tribal
It's
times when there was tribes, like the women
yeah.
were gatherers and the men hunted, and the
It's like what Jacob said in the last review. I think it was the last review. When it came to the Andrew Tate thing, you can hear something that may be the truth, and you can agree with it. But if it's one thing out of 1,000 things that somebody would say, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily like a follower, believer of everything they do and say.
hmm
It's that one thing you could be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's not wrong. But it doesn't mean you deserve to be casted and put into a label and grouped on and grouped in with all these other things. It's like the whole Star Wars thing where if you don't like how even just recently Daisy Ridley addressed her character and a question that was asked because the way the interviewer asked it was, how do you feel about the violent reaction to your Rey Skywalker movie? And the key phrasing, violent.
hmm
So Daisy really responded, no, 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 I don't pay attention to any of that stuff. It's not something I'd like to give my focus to, or paraphrasing, of course. And I'm paraphrasing for her. But then she specifically says, um, there are men who have a certain problem with me and my in the character that I portray, paraphrasing. Um, but she specifically says it's men.
right,
Like men are the reason men are hating her and her character. And there are a small percentage of men who have a problem with female characters. That's true. That doesn't mean all Star Wars fans are misogynist or sexist and shit like that. And that how that relates to this is very clear because Jacob being someone who's speaking about gender roles and just saying how certain cultures have them, certain different cultures have them still to this day, but now in modern times with the
hmm
Western society, it's a hot take to say that these things should be in place when they were in place for hundreds of years.
right.
And it's almost not life-threatening, but you have to speak with caution. You have to really be careful with your wording to even be like, hey, maybe gender roles aren't bad. Maybe there are a thing that in society we need, or maybe something that they shouldn't be frowned upon. And I'm going on a tangent, but essentially what I'm saying is that like like Jacob being able to say these things, he should be allowed to say them without any repercussions, without anybody going off and be like, you're a misogynist, you're a sexist, you're a piece of shit, you're racist, or whatever the fuck. It's just an opinion. It's a thought. It's backed by generations and generations of
Centuries and
history
millennia.
as well as just Animal Kingdom. It's in the Animal Kingdom.
Jordan
Different
Peterson
roles,
says like if you put men and women on an island, they will revert back to their gender roles, and that's just how it is.
and that was true. Also seen in a show. I think it was called
I think I know exactly what you're
Alone.
talking about. I think I
You
know
know what show
exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about?
I know exactly what you're talking
There
about.
was. It's literally a viral clip that's been out there. There's an island. There's men put on one side, women put on the other. The women ended up fighting and not being able to decide who was going to do what or how to do what, and they didn't follow. And I think they were given some kind of instruction or some kind of
Yeah, they're trying to make
rules or
shelter,
something like
trying to
that.
make fire, and trying to hunt.
They weren't able to do anything. Most of them gave up. The men had already established roles, had already said who's going to get what, who's going to do what, and then also had shelters created already.
Yeah, made
And that's not
fire.
to say that that's going to happen with every group,
Yes.
but that's just a good example to back the argument of gender roles. And obviously, there's going to be times where women can obviously do things that others can't, other women can't, and that's cool. That's fine. We've seen it in films where, like, as for example, like Ripley, fucking every slasher horror film, final girl steps up and takes initiative, and they usually survive. They have to build shelter, or they have to find a way to get food, or just live off the land,
Look at
stuff like
Alien.
that. Fucking Alien.
Princess
And
Leia.
Princess Leia. And yeah, it's not to say that those things can't be changed in ways, but when it comes back to the root of all things, Jacob, I do agree with him that there are those roles that have been there in a while for a long time. I'm not gonna say everybody should be fucking doing them or like force them on anybody. It's free.
It's America.
It's America, and also like if for us as Christians, we believe in free will. Do what you want, live how you want. We'll respect it. You know,
Even if you don't agree with it,
um,
and won't
even if you
praise
don't
it
agree with it.
or preach it.
Yeah, we will, pray for a better tomorrow and like, or like Superman. What was the saying for tomorrow?
I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
But not that Superman pays for a better tomorrow. Don't take me out of context.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just to end the tangent there, it's just like having a having an opinion and being able to voice that opinion shouldn't put you on the fucking guillotine. Shouldn't put you on a guillotine.
Yeah.
You should be allowed to speak your mind. You should be allowed to speak how you feel. You should be allowed to have hot takes. You should be able to say what you don't like, what you do like, and
Mm-hmm.
just speak your mind freely. Because if you're a person who hears something you don't like and you decide that person shouldn't be allowed to speak ever again, you are a fascist. You are someone who is the worst of all humankind. Unless they're speaking vile, horrible things that you and I both can
Yeah, of
imagine, and
course.
all of you could probably imagine what the hell is the most vile, horrible thing you can imagine, then you're not a fascist. You're most likely right.
It's something. Yeah,
But
discernment. Gotta have discernment.
you gotta have discernment. If it's something that's like fucking like, oh, I don't like this show because it's bad, then
Right.
chill out. I didn't like The Acolyte. Am I racist? No. I didn't like the show. The story, the canon fucked up. It's bad. But yeah, I'm gonna end that tangent there. I just like I love Jacob. And
I love
like
it
I
too.
know that he can have some controversial takes and some hot takes, especially for who he is as a person. And I love him for who he is as a person.
In modern
But I'm not gonna
America.
stand here. I won't stand here and potentially if this blows up and comes back, I want it to be on record that I will back him up. I will not stand by
I
and
won't
let people
stand
just be
here.
like, I will stand here. I'm 5'3". I will stand here and I will back him up.
The only thing that in that spiel I will disagree with is that we're animals. That's the only thing I'll disagree with.
Mammals.
I will still disagree with
Not
that.
in there. It's not in there, but scientifically, based on books and that stuff,
Of
we are.
science,
But
I guess you could put in the science.
if you go with science, we are. If you go with other things, we're not.
Yeah. I mean, we're animalistic in our fallen nature, but we're definitely not animals. We're never meant to be
Yeah,
like animals. Never meant to be like that.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
All right,
Back
let's
on track
finish
now.
this
Sorry for the
off.
rant. Sorry for the rant.
Jim is approached by another school. Yada 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 yada. They say a prayer and thanks. Jim takes kids to the ocean. They get new uniforms and tracksuits, and they spell damn, what's the name wrong?
Cougars.
Cougars. They spelled the Cougars wrong, and he's like, don't say
No Cougars.
anything. The women put a lot of work into this. Like, don't say anything. You know, another like
Yeah.
element of like the man and woman dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you know what I mean. They put the love and the effort into it. Just don't say anything. Let them.
Also, the language barrier of the two cultures.
Oh yeah, the language barrier is very prevalent. So they have the quinceañera. They have the generals in the Mexican community and the kids' acknowledgement and appreciation for their fathers and mothers. The quinceañera is great. Jim makes up with his family. Thomas continues to make respectable moves on Jim's daughter. And I
Yeah.
love how respectable Thomas is being to his daughter. Very, very honorable and respectable. And, you don't see too much of a conversation with Jim and Thomas, but you can tell just by the kind of man Jim is and what kind of man Thomas is going to be and trying to be. He's being a good guy.
That's what I was going like just circling back to what I said earlier. The interactions and the character growths and like just the dynamics between certain characters. You don't really see a lot of that.
I
You
agree.
don't really get that a lot. And that is a good example right there that you mentioned. It's just Thomas and Jim. You don't really see them ever talk or discuss anything about his daughter. You never see him ask for the blessing or anything like that. If we're going old school. And even with the daughter, you don't really see their relationship grow. You see like maybe two interactions at whole, and then they become like a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you never really see them as a thing. You just kind of see the blossoming of what's to come and them going
Like
to
a
be a
potential,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. It is really a true blossoming. So that's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go parade your daughter throughout the streets because that's a thing. Apparently, I really don't. I don't know much about quinceañeras myself, so I couldn't say if that's like a fact or not.
I've only been to one.
I've been to one as well,
And
but I
didn't do it.
didn't do it either. I did a shoot for it. I did a little photo shoot.
Dang, mine was Puerto Rican though.
Okay, mine was
Colombian?
Brazilian.
Brazilian.
Yeah, they were Brazilian.
Shit.
Yeah.
That could be why we didn't go like the lab.
Actually, no. It wasn't Brazilian. I can't remember what the father's side was, but I did do one.
Was it Colombian?
I forget. I honestly forget.
No, you're good.
Quinceañera's going great. They start to parade around the streets. That's when you see Thomas and her holding hands for the first time. And the head of the car club was attacked by a previous rival gang back when he was a part of a gang. They have history. There was a fight that broke out. Jim's daughter was left with some scratches, and Thomas feels absolutely horrible. Jim gets the call and gets the keys and goes over, and he's very angry. But the head of the car club tells Jim that she was indeed safe, and just to ask, and to tell Jim, ask the boys that, and you'll see that
How
she was
she
safe.
really was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was indeed knives, and there was a lot of blood, and essentially, it stated that the boys who were either on the team or who, just the boys of the town who are going along with the ride, pushed her out of the way to defend her. Another thing with gender roles. The male pushes the woman away, and they go in the front lines. They go and get stabbed. You know? Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
There's gonna be people who are like, what? You don't think we could just, you don't think we could handle it? You don't think we could stand in front of the blade and take the blade?
Let's put you in. Let's put you in this situation. All right, you want to have a gang pull up on you, and you want to be in the front lines. Go and be in the front lines. But I could bet you $1,000 you're not going to be doing that. I wouldn't
want to.
You wouldn't want to, but I would bet money that you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Hot take with Jacob. Jim goes to
spin-off podcast.
Yeah. Hot takes, Jacob.
Jake's hot takes.
Jake's hot takes. That's good. Jim goes to meet with the school. Trademark. Jim goes to meet with the school that homes the coach that approached Jim, because like at this point Jim's like, all right, we got to get the hell out of here because it's obviously unsafe. So basically, Jim goes to a meeting with the school that he's approached by, and he's offered a full-time position, but he hasn't accepted it yet. You know. Julie, his wife, is upset that they may have to leave, and Thomas consoles her. And I put, oh, how the turntables. Because because shout out to the Office fans, because like now they don't want to leave and Jim still wants to leave, and now they don't want to leave at all because they love it there, and it's like, oh wow, the turntables. There's a scene where Jim and his wife are talking in the bed, but the wife is distraught because Jim's team protected his daughter. And states that this place feels like home more than anywhere else he's ever lived. Because
where are you gonna find something like that?
Oh my goodness, yeah. Else? I mean, I agree. Like that is a home. Like that.
100%.
Yeah, it's a community that is a home. It's not, they say like home is where the heart is. This is a home.
And like it could have been like a neighborhood where like, if it truly wasn't safe, like nobody would be sharing or talking or doing anything. It'd all be to themselves. True. Literally within the first couple minutes of him moving into the home, he's given a chicken.
Giving a chicken.
He's giving him a whole chicken.
He's like, do I sacrifice this? do I cook this?
To the pagan gods? No, but
it pulls out a knife and slices the chicken's throat. The town is friends with Jim after all, and his family. True friends. True friends. They all help each other. They all support each other. They set up the quinceañera for his family. It's a beautiful thing. Thomas, that's like when he calls him Blanco again, because he's lost respect for him. It shows that very vividly. Like if you have respect, they call you respectable names.
It feels like Jim's just moving on to the next best thing because nothing's good enough in McFarland. And
he's like, that's America. You guys always go for the next thing. You guys always go for more money,
bigger, better, whatever.
Yeah. So you kind of see racial bias on both sides. a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Team heads the state, and the whole school and town is quite literally rooting for them. The school spirit is alive, fully alive, and shown
Thriving.
Thriving. Thomas is still upset and
I would-
seems not to have told anybody about Jim potentially leaving. And good on Thomas, he's a true captain, because if you tell the whole team, they're just going to lose.
Yeah.
The corner store owner closes shop for the first time in 25 years to go to the event. The team has the entire carpool with the town, and they all go together.
Even Thomas's dad.
Even Thomas's dad. Thomas's dad shows up to his son's meet. That's like the best support you can give a kid, is to show up to his event. During the
just
national
showing up.
Yep. During the national anthem, Jim realizes his true love for his team. And it's a moment because they're all singing the national anthem, and it doesn't matter what race or ethnicity you are. You're all part of the same team. Like you're all American. You all appreciate where you are. And this is when he realizes his true love for the team.
When he showed these politicians, it's McFarland USA.
Right. Jim gives a speech out of love, and it's touching, and he makes Thomas captain. I don't think he makes him captain in that moment, but I think he might.
He's like, "You're captain."
Jose starts off too strong and lags behind deeply. The team has to make up for it. Danny picks up the pace for his team. Danny's just going hard in the paint. Thomas makes first. Jose is nowhere to be seen, but Danny crosses the finish line, passing up plenty of other runners. He's the true MVP. And McFarland are state champions. Thomas and his father and mother have a humble moment. They all hug. It's beautiful. Very beautiful moment. Great payoff. Great payoff.
Great payoff for his story right there. It was great payoff.
Yep.
And his character growth for his dad as well, which is like,
oh yeah,
it's nice.
It is very nice. It's very nice. Sports bring people together. After that, Jim meets the other coach once again, who offers us his position, and he says no.
Walks away.
We see McFarland's updated school, and the town is rejuvenated. And then we see, that's like the modern day school. We see McFarland's won 9 state titles in 14 years back in that time. Jim coached every team, both the boys and the girls. Jim got a new bike. Nobody on the 1987 team had okay, this is really cool. Nobody on the 1987 team had a relative that completed their freshman year of high school. However, all 7
First
runners.
generations.
Yes. However, all 7 runners on Jim's team attended college.
I think one of them got locked up.
I'll get into that.
Oh shit.
The same runners are now working. Most of them are staying very close to home, even in McFarland. Jim White, the real coach, retired in 2003 after having meets in Europe, Asia, and all across America. And Jim still lives in McFarland. Great sports drama. I'm just going to lay into some fun facts now. Jim White has not been fired from numerous prior teaching jobs. He was never fired from previous teaching jobs before starting at McFarland. And he started...
Damn, they just put that in?
Yeah, they just put it in.
Wow. Jim's like...
Whose Ears does the same thing, I think. Is it Whose Ears? I think it's...
Ears?
No, I think it's Whose Ears. Let me look it up real quick. If that's the...
Wait, what?
It's a basketball movie with Gene Hackman.
Whose Ears?
Yep.
It's not like you're saying Hosier.
No, Whose Ears. Great movie. You should watch it. From 1986. Gene Hackman.
Send me the link. The letterbox link. I got you.
Okay. So Jim White, the real one, has never been fired from numerous prior teaching jobs before starting at McFarland. He started teaching in the McFarland School District after graduating from Pepperdine University in 1964. So he was there for a long time.
Is that his first team then?
Mm-hmm.
So what the fuck is this football team we could get in the beginning?
It's just added drama. Like I said, in Whose Ears, Whose Ears is like the same thing.
The writer's just like, this would be good. Jim, you cool with that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
Because it wouldn't be that big of a payoff of
enough.
his story if he was like already there.
Yeah.
You know, I love Gene Hackman. He's a great actor.
Like, we didn't give him a reason to be there.
Mm-hmm. Jim White
Gene
did
Hackman,
not. Jim
legend.
White. Yes, Jim White did not create best Lex Luthor ever. It's
Create what?
It's arguable, but you know he's my favorite Lex Luthor.
Gene Hackman?
Lex Luthor, Superman, 1978.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's the best.
in my opinion. That's just
You
my
think he's the
biased.
best?
Well, in my biased opinion, in the first real cinematic experience of Superman, he can't take your eye off the screen when he's playing, and he just acts so well, and he's hilarious. That's the only
I'll say
reason. That's the
live
only reason.
action. Live action, I think he's my top two.
With
'Cause you got Michael Rosenbaum.
Michael Rosenbaum. That's right. Number one.
Michael Rosenbaum.
Number one.
Number one.
Well,
Number
Number
one.
one. Bring him back.
It's all about the angles.
It's all about the angles. Jim White did
We
not
should
create.
just insert a clip of us doing that sketch. Just fucking
I could do it. I'll put it in. It's great. I'll put it in.
fuck yeah.
Jim White did not create the cross-country team at the school, but instead he restarted it after it had been dropped for a year. He rebuilt both the boys and girls cross-country teams, despite only the boys' team being featured in the film. Similarly, White took both the boys and girls teams to California Coast Beach during 1985, not the 1987 season. So he took them both to the beach, both the.
At the same year?
This is a different year, 1985, not 1987.
Okay. So you just make a McFarland USA 2 and call Costner back, be like, hey, you're a little bit older. We got some de-aging technology now with Disney. Make it $3 million. We make a $30 million budget, and show the girl story now for the new age.
Danny Diaz was not overweight as a kid. He was, however, the seventh person on the team, and is also still instrumental to their state title win in 1987.
Sick.
Jim White and his wife Cheryl have 3 daughters, not 2. The oldest daughter, Tammy, does not appear in the film. Julie and Jamie are also portrayed slightly younger than their real ages at the time of McFarland's first state title win. All 3 girls were in college during that time.
So none of that story is true then?
Not a lot of it.
I feel so fuck this movie.
No, he did take I think the society and the culture at the time in that town was very real. That's got to be a thing. And they brought that town up to states and made
Quinceañera never happened.
Correct.
It's a farce.
Correct.
God, this is almost as bad as when someone told me the Holocaust never happened. I didn't believe them. I don't believe them. But it's almost as bad as when someone told me that. It's almost as bad.
Principal photography took place in Camarillo, California. However, many of McFarland's residents were extras in the movie.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I could tell that some of them weren't trained extras or anything like that because they just seemed genuinely just there.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Not all the runners from the 1987 team were featured in the film. Director Nico Caro wanted to show more family in the movie. Respect. So Luis Pardita, who was on the team, was replaced by David Diaz. Damasio and Danny's brother. Diaz, however, had graduated the year before McFarland's first state title win.
Damn.
I want to bring this up real quick. There's a scene when they're running, and there's a dog that just pulls up and tries to take a poop. And there's a scene when they're running, and then the dog just goes into the frame and squats down.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
And they start to laugh. I think they just kept that in there.
The dog then the dog has to go around them.
Yeah. I just think they kept it in the film. It's a great.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's good. McFarland is located in North Kern County, 7 miles south of Delano, California, where 2 Olympic medalists, world record holders, attended high school.
Okay.
McFarland was never rivals with Palo Alto, which is the school that approached Jim.
Mm-hmm.
They were never rivals, and they never competed against them. McFarland is 4 hours away from Palo Alto.
Damn. Okay, so nothing. Don't believe everything you see on streaming and TV.
We don't believe it's on
farce.
TV.
We don't believe it's on TV.
This is what they want us to see. Demasio Diaz would make headlines in 2016 after being charged with police corruption. He would be sentenced to 5 years in prison. Diaz admitted to a litany of crimes while he was working as a cop, including taking bribes, large-scale distribution of meth, working in partnership with a known drug dealer, stealing evidence, and providing police intelligence to criminal partners.
And that was who?
Demasio Diaz.
Holy crap, dude. Holy crap.
Yep. Nuts. And he was like, I saw
That
a
is
picture of
nuts.
him at the premiere. He's like signing autographs.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
That's insane, dude.
I will give this movie a 4 out of 5.
4 to 5.
Yes.
I will give it a 3.5.
I think the reason why it gets that extra bump for me is because of the family dynamics and you know, really showing what America's about. You know,
Yeah.
really showing what sports
It's a female
does.
director.
It is. It is. It shows what sports does for a nation and for a town that's, you know, in a bad place. It shows true family dynamics and true gender roles and true cultures coming together in America as a melting pot. And there's so many beautiful moments, and they do it so well. It's not like phenomenal, but for me, it gets an easy 4 out of 5. And like Nick said, there's moments that I wish we could have seen in between certain characters. But as a sports drama, there's not much you could do with track and field and cross country. I feel like I was never a cross country runner. I was never a track and field runner. But there's not too much you could do with that kind of thing. Baseball, football, completely different. Other sports, completely different. So you can't really complain.
You could do like a fox catcher type deal if you really wanted to go. Like you feel like you go that far with this type of sport if you really want to.
Give me an
like,
example.
in film. Like Foxcatcher, you know, like it was the one dude who was like super manipulated and controlled by the head of the thing, by Steve Carell's character, Channing Tatum's character. He's like super controlled, basically brainwashed and shit. I feel like you could definitely make a story or find a story with like a track runner or like cross country runner who's manipulated, controlled to that extent. You could definitely make it like a really dark, really layered.
No, yeah,
like,
but
film.
I'm talking like when like you're in the moment when the race starts. There's not much you could do with a race. That's my opinion. You know,
you could do it like a car. You could do it like a car race or like a boxing, like the beginning of the boxing match, like that slow mo, like build up.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, you could direct it very well.
With the whistles,
You could
like
direct
all that
it very
stuff.
well. You could direct it very well. You
But
can.
when it comes to the action, I think I get what you're saying. There's not much you could really.
Yes. Yeah, but directing wise, but I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 because a lot of it hits home and it does so many things well. Like the racial bias, gender roles, family unit, cultures coming together, highlighting Mexican culture, showing how what sports can do for a town and for kids who have it bad. Showing the full circle moment of the coach. I just think there's so much that you could appreciate of this movie, and that's why I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. But yeah, my reviews are subjectively objective, and
I might move mine up to a 4. The only reason I started giving it a 3.5, a 3.5, was because of the new fun facts, which are nothing you know is true.
Yeah.
But
No, I totally understand that.
If we're doing like just without that information,
correct,
just straight movie how I felt about it, I'd give it a 4. 4.5, maybe even.
Okay.
I mean, Costner is never dislikable while he's on camera. He's always, like the whole time I just like, yeah.
It's one of those. He's just one of those guys where you could throw on a movie and if he's on it, you'll probably stick around and watch it for a little.
That guy's got a. I'd be like, I was looking at him like that guy's got a timer. That guy fucks.
He's got a Zippo.
That
He's got a
kid
timer in his.
fucks.
He's got a timer in his cooler.
I think the best time we've ever said that was the kid's got a Zippo.
Yeah, exactly.
The kid fuck for Halloween.
Yeah, it's for Halloween. So if you don't know already, we have a tier list, and this is the first tier list that we're showing with the channel. That's non-horror.
Mhm.
Bottom of the tier list, $5 bin. You go to Best Buy,
Mhm.
and there's a $5 bin.
7-Eleven.
7-Eleven, $5 bin. I've actually gotten some good movies at 7-Eleven. Like
DVDs, but
yeah,
can't beat them.
Blu-rays.
Ooh.
Blu-rays.
Oh, we're stepping up. We're stepping up.
Yeah, Green Mile, Shawshank.
Oh shit.
It was like a Green Mile Shawshank bundle.
Whoa.
Yeah, $5 bin. Awesome.
Nice. Nice.
It's not 7-Eleven anymore, so they don't have all that shit. But yeah.
Yeah.
So $5 bin, bottom of the tier list. Next up is straight to on demand.
Mhm.
You know, it's you can find it on DVD and Blu-ray, but you know some things you see on DVD and Blu-ray are just not going to be straight to on demand. But this is the kind of movie that goes straight to on demand.
The studio didn't have the faith to put it in theaters. There it is.
Right.
On your streaming service.
Yeah. And maybe some things that go straight to on demand, it's worth being in theaters, just like Alien Romulus is going to be.
Hell yeah, dude.
You know?
Hell yeah. Prey.
Right.
What was that? No One Will Save You.
Mm-hmm. There's a numerous amount that should have been released in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Above straight to on demand is Bang for Your Buck.
Get what you pay for.
Get what you pay for.
Quality and quantity.
Next up is Buy It on 4K. At that point, you're buying it on 4K and you're keeping it forever.
Putting that money down.
Next up, you have Play It Again. It's so damn good, you put it on again. I'll watch it again.
Watchability is just up there.
Yep.
Up there.
And the top tier, cinema.
Cinema. Martin Scorsese.
Martin Scorsese. Shout out to Martin Scorsese.
Shout out to Martin Scorsese.
This
Don't
is
sue us.
going on a Buy It on 4K for me.
I'm putting on buying on 4K.
I will watch it. I'm not going to tell you to put it on again, but honestly, I was kind of torn between the two for a little bit. However, because there are so many good moments. Oh,
It's got the watchability.
Yeah.
It's got the watchability, but I would say 4K because it's that good of a movie. It's that much of a good feel good movie.
Right.
And having it in 4K, just knowing that I have it, I can put it on whenever I'm down, whenever I'm not like in a motivated mood. Pop that sucker in its full-fledged quality, and just know I'm gonna have a good time.
Yeah, like today I wasn't having a great day. Wasn't having a great day today, so I put it on, and then I watched this movie, and it made my day a lot better.
Spirits lifted.
Yep, so that's our review for McFarland USA. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe, hit that bell, and
Hit it.
Yeah, let us know let us know where you want to put it on the tier list if you made it this far.
Hit that bell like plane hit the tower. Never forget.
Never forget. But that's it for Based on Cinema. Thanks for joining us, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Peace.